welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a flip through of quarter 2 of my 2022 project life. So if you haven't seen the previous video, I'll pop a card up in the corner for quarter 1. So let's have a look at quarter 2. So here we are in April, so I've just got a pink Project Life card with gold foiling, and then I've done my letters for April, they're also in gold. I went out to a company called the Iced Vegan and we got our wedding cake flavours, so we got 6 flavours that we tried. My other half wasn't sure whether or not he was going to like vegan cake. He is very good, he will try vegan foods, but he's not vegan himself. But he said that he really liked them, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a vegan wedding cake, which is fabulous. It was also my birthday in April, so I've just got a picture of the flowers that my other half got me, a card, and he got me some vegan chocolate. And then I've just got a little bit of journaling down here just about my birthday and saying that it wasn't a great day because I was feeling quite down. Talked about the wedding cake samples, and then I also spoke about some of the wedding bits that I'm making, which are on the following page. As I said before, I tend to journal, I only tend to do sort of like 1 or 2 journal cards for the whole month. It tends to be more photo heavy, so that was my journaling for all of April. But here I've got my table centerpieces that I started doing, so I've just got a lantern with an LED candle, because we're not allowed real flames at our venue. It's a 300-year-old barn we're getting married in. And then I've just got some tulle fabric, so I cut that to size, hemmed all the edges, looped it through the top, and then I found these little butterfly costume rings. So I don't know if you can see that very well on the camera, but I just put these little butterflies there because we're doing a butterfly release. And then I made a little sign, it says table 1, and it's a wooden effect, so I did some decoupage on there, and then I put a little silk rose in pink. And then I've got my Converses, so I glued on these little rhinestones onto the toe of the Converses, and then I used heat transfer vinyl, and I've done the date and my new surname. And I've got these little gold hearts on both pages, just sort of in the middle of the page protectors. And I've got my hangers, so I did one for James, so I painted it to look like a tuxedo with a little bow tie and some little buttons. It's got his name on the top, says groom, and then our wedding date on the other arm. And then I've got my hanger, one of my bridesmaids' hangers, because they're a slightly different shade of white, so I've done mine as like a pearlised white, and theirs is just a plain bright white with the pink vinyl on there. I've got one for my mum, so again it's got mother of the bride, her name and the date, and then I've got one for each of my bridesmaids, again with their name, bridesmaid and the date. And then I've got another one of these milestone cards, so again I ran it through my Mink machine and I put some pink foil on there so that it ties it in with this spread with the pink. Then if we go into May, so I've got my title card for May, a little bit of washi tape on the top, and then it just says May 22. A little bit of journaling here about what's going on, so I've said about the bits and pieces that I've made for the wedding and the fact that I've got a new printer. So I used to use my Canon selfie printer to print out all my photos for Project Life, but I was finding that all the pictures had a blue tint. So you'll see that on the earlier videos, that a lot of the pictures are quite washed out, quite blue in colour. I didn't like it and I couldn't really find a solution to it online, so in the end I sold that and I got this Epson Eco Tank printer, so I'm now putting all my photos into Adobe Photoshop Elements and then printing them out on this printer, and I actually much prefer it. I much prefer the quality of the photos that I'm getting from that. Now I've got my top that I made, so this is going to be for the day after the wedding, so it just says wifey with a pink heart and then established 2023. I've got my post box, so this was just I bought it on eBay and it was a flat pack MDF post box that you put together yourself. And then what I did was I painted it white and then painted with like a pearlised white over the top, the same colour that I did for my hanger, and then I painted the rest of it like a antique-y gold. And then down here I've made it look like an official post box, so it's got like the Royal Mail colours, which is our postal service in the UK, and it's got our wedding venue and like the last time of collection, so I've just covered that over just because it's got the wedding venue details on there. And then we're really good at work, so we have mental health first aiders, and the company does a lot for mental health, promoting awareness within staff. So this was just a tea and talk that we had. So this was one of the slides that we put on the TVs for the tea and talk, and then this is what I had. So I've actually got a mug, but it's got the company name on it, so I've covered that over, and then I've got a piece of fruit and some cakes. And so what we did is everyone was encouraged to get away from their desks, to grab a brew, grab something to eat, and just to sit down and just have a chat with people in the office, just so that you were there and you were just an ear for people. So that was really nice. And then one of the women at work, she had issues with her laptop, but she'd recently had surgery, so she wasn't working in the office, she was trying to work from home. But she lived quite away from me, so she actually came to my house after work, dropped her laptop off, and then I took her laptop back into the office with me the following day, fixed it, and then she popped back to mine and picked up her laptop again. So as a thank you, she bought me some lovely Portuguese wine. So I was just sat out in the garden. It was quite a nice day, so I was just sat out in the garden having a little drink of wine. And then these are the Medaka rice fish, so they're actually quite small, but I put those out in the garden, and I hadn't had much luck with them in the tank indoors. They weren't really breeding. I'd seen some eggs, but nothing really came of those. So this is just a close-up, I don't know if you can see, but one of the females there has actually got eggs. So with the Medaka, they carry the eggs around attached to their bodies, and then when they brush against plants, those eggs are sticky and they will then attach themselves to the plants, and then hopefully the eggs hatch. So my pond is actually doing really well with the Medaka. There's actually quite a lot of babies in there now. And then this was a previous book from the book club. So I borrowed it off of one of the ladies so that I could catch up and read it. They said it was a really good book. It's about a device, so it's a bit like the Amazon devices, but it's called Electra, and it's about the assistants turning on her. They pull up her past and they turn on her. And then up here we've got my other half. I bought some vegan custard for us to try. It was actually really nice. He said that he couldn't taste the difference again between that and normal custard. And then I bought some more rice fish eggs on eBay. So these ones are super blacks. So I bought those, raised those up in the tanks, and then later on in the year I actually ended up putting them out in the tub with the other ones, but you'll see that later on in the album. And then my aunt did some baking, so she's gonna have a afternoon tea. So she made some cakes, but she'd never made vegan cakes, so she made a load and then sent me home with them so that I could try them and give her my feedback on those. This is the tub, so you can see the progress now. So from January when I got it, it was just a tub with nothing in it, so I'm starting to get plants in there. I've got a little floating island, but later on I ended up taking the island out because it was just getting blown around in the wind and I didn't really like it, but the rest of the plants stayed in there. And then this was quite a rough time, so for a while I'd noticed I had a lump on my head, and it was starting to get bigger, so I just sort of captured pictures of it sort of as the time went on, sort of from beginning of December right the way through till May. So I went to the doctors because I was concerned about it. They then sent me to a cancer clinic just for a checkup, just to be sure, but thankfully it wasn't cancerous. It was just an infected scratch, so the chances are it was probably one of my dogs had caught me on the head with their claws, and then it just got infected through like washing your hair, getting shampoo and conditioner in it, it had just become infected, so antibiotics, and that cleared that up. But I do like to document both the good and the bad, so I'll always add things like this, because then I can look back at those pictures and I know exactly what was going on there. Moving to June, so I've just got my title card here, and then I've just got some stickers that just spell out June in sort of fun summery colours. So this month, because I joined the book club, I decided I was going to go and join my local library, which I did. Now, I've never had a library card since I was a kid, so I was really excited to go and get my library card, and I picked up my first book from the library, which is The Handmaid's Tale. So I absolutely love, I've watched the entire TV series, I absolutely love it, but I'd never read the book, so I was excited to be able to read the book. And then just behind our post office there's a book exchange, so I'd taken all the books that I had that I'd read, went down to the book exchange and swapped them out. So these are all the books that I picked up, and I was absolutely thrilled. I managed to find a Jodi Picoult book. So Jodi Picoult is one of my favourite authors, never expected to find a book of hers there, so this is just a picture so of all the books that I'd picked up from that exchange. I bought myself a 7-inch tablet, so it's sort of similar size to the Kindle, but my local library you can get ebooks and audiobooks, so I got that so I can make use of that perk of the library, so I can get as many of my book club books on there and any other books that I fancy reading. And then it was the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, so I've just got a little filler card in here that I made. I've got a sticker with the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, and then this is an iron-on patch, so I've just stuck him on the side there. A little bit of journaling about the books that I'd picked up, and the book club. So this is the book club, the work book club book that they're reading, The Boy Who Steals Houses and the Girl Who Steals His Heart. So I've just done a big picture of the cover of that book. And then I'm really making use of my library card, so I started getting the Harry Potter audio books. So I'd never read the Harry Potter books, watched all the films and loved them, so I didn't really have time to read them with the book club book, but I thought I'd get the audio books. So when I was doing some crafting or scrapbooking, I would have these on in the background. And if you haven't listened to them, I really recommend them. Stephen Fry is amazing at narrating them. He does all the voices for the different characters. So I've absolutely loved listening to those. And then this time it was Clyde, who wasn't very well this month. So I don't know what he did, but he had this really bad sore. It appeared on his leg. He didn't seem to worry about it too much, and the other dogs weren't licking it. I think it just looked a lot worse than it was. So I've just got here, poor Clyde, we have no idea what he's done. We are hoping it heals and he doesn't need a trip to the vet. So fortunately he didn't, and wanted it for about a week, and it went down on its own, which is good. So I've just got a little sticker here that says ah. And then a little bit of journaling again about these books and about the weather. So I do like to put the weather cards in there for the week if I remember to. So this is just the weather for the week. And then I've got watching, it says currently obsessed. I've just got some stickers I put on there for 1, 2 and 3. So I've got the Midwich Cuckoos for number 1, Depp versus Heard, the winners and losers, and Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. So I think most of those were on Netflix. And then Bear is absolutely obsessed with the TV, anything animal related that comes on the TV, and he stands up there like that. I don't know how he doesn't hurt his eyes. His eyes end up so watery where he gets so close to the screen, and depending on what it is, he does try and jump through the TV as well. And then so back in February, obviously we had the damage to the roof of our house, so we're now in June and we're finally starting to get it repaired. So we've got the scaffolding has turned up so that they can repair that. This is the afternoon tea that my aunt held, so that was the baking that she did previous month. So it's just me and one of my friends together at the afternoon tea. So we'd actually installed a video doorbell, which I absolutely love. I love getting the notifications through on there and seeing what's going on outside. This was a little journaling card that I made, so I've got some more ephemera, trying to slowly use it up. And then I've got a little label printer, so I just printed this out on print labels, and it says memories are meant to be made, not forgotten. And then this is that tub out in the garden, so it's doing really well. Lots of plants are growing in there now. I've got a little breeding box because I noticed with all the frying they were so worried that the adults were going to eat them, that I started any I could find that I could catch. I was starting to put them in the little breeder net to keep them safe. But I needn't have worried because there's now loads in there. They're just, with all the plants, they can hide, and they've got loads of places they can get out of the way of the adults. And then I've got another card here for the weather, so it was starting to get hotter. It reached 26 degrees. I've just covered that up just because it's got my location, so I don't really want to share that on YouTube, but it was starting to get hot. And then I've got a little journaling card here that I made, and it just says enjoy life. Then my stepdad, he did a cutting of this plant, and he planted it and sent it to me, but he said he didn't know whether or not the flowers were going to be pink or blue. So as the flowers started to come through, I sent him that picture and just said to him, it looks like the flowers are going to be pink. And then as it was quite warm, I was working from home this day, so it's just me in the hammock. I've got my Harry Potter book on the go, and I've just covered up the laptop screen just because I've got emails and that open, and I don't really want to be sharing that, but it's one of the only times I got to work from home. So that's it for Q2 of 2022. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.